Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Shotta, and as usual, my expert, who is my friend, long time buddy in the trenches, blogging away and tweeting away, Blackburn George. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. Good morning.
Well, the audience needs to know that we are a day late and a dollar short. We tried to record a day earlier, but we had some technical issues. People should know, obviously, if they look at the snow on our rooftop, they should know that we're old fogies, and sometimes technical issues jump up that we just can't resolve on a timely basis. And that happened yesterday, George.
Yeah, my fault. My laptop stopped working, and I eventually fixed it after 2.5 hours by punching it.
Just like the old black and white TV back in the day, George. You gave it a kick and the tube. But then again, most of our listeners don't even know that. The tube just started working.
Seriously, that's how I got exasperated with it and just banged it, and the bloody thing started working again.
Well, if you bang these new fandangled TV, you won't have any.
No.
Yeah, which reminds me, my wife was cleaning yesterday and she plugged out the Ethernet, and I came home, trying to find out what problem we had, and I'm like, no internet. What did you do? Anyway, that's an aside. So George, it's I guess 2 days after, raging on Twitter at least. Is all the sirens. I'm trying to remember that metaphor, the Cassandras of doom, right? That it's all lost. And after West Ham, and I suspect, George, that the major issue is, and not suspect, we know, and Liverpool, we were 2 up and they pegged us back, but a game which I didn't see, so I really have to soften my comments. I only know the result. But the major disappointment on Sunday, we were 2 goals up on West Ham, and it slipped out of our grasp. And I suspect that is what is accounting for most of the disappointment. Don't you think so?
Yeah, last week when we drew with Liverpool after being 2-0 up, we've thrown it away. This week, we've scuppered it, according to a lot of the fans. But it's very disappointing because it's not the fact that we threw away a 2-goal lead. I remember being 2-0 down to Spurs.
Yes.
And beating them 5-2.
Right.
There was fuck all they could do about that. Yes. They didn't throw it away. We took it away. We were better than them.
Right.
But that's not the case in these last 2 games. We've allowed these teams back in the game. We were totally dominating them. It was an embarrassment to Liverpool that we had gone to Anfield and we were really taking the mickey out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem. We started trying to take the mickey out of these teams, doing flicks and tricks. Some of the commentators are waxing lyrical about the movement. Oh, look at the players. They're all over the place. Yeah, that was a fucking problem. They were all over the place. What the fuck is Jesus doing, dropping deep, taking the ball off the centre halves, thinking he's first of all, thinking he's a defensive midfielder, right. Thinking he's a number 8, moving a bit forward, thinking he's a number 10, and trying to get into the attack. He was popping up here, there, and everywhere, where he should have been staying where he was, and we should have been keeping our shape. It was ridiculous the way he played. Martin Odegaard, for how good he's been this season, twice when they've scored to get back in the game, has gone missing.
Yes.
He's lost his composure. What were simple balls to him previously are now not are going astray. Thomas Partey, fucking hell, the poor, but he needed to be off at half time, because although I feel sympathy for him, I think Declan Rice did handle the ball.
Yes.
It was still, he shouldn't have been fucking about there.
Where he was.
Where he was, trying to
Yes.
embarrass Declan Rice by playing the ball around him. It was horrible, the way that we allowed them both to become the dominant team when we were the dominant team. It wasn't that they wrestled control back, we gave it back. And that's disappointing. And it'll be disappointing for them, and it'll be disappointing for Arteta. But it's a worry that it's happened, because we don't have to go back that far to the end of last season to remember a similar capitulation.
Yes.
At the end of the season.
Newcastle.
And we thought we were past that. We thought we were past it. And maybe
Yes.
we will be past it. Maybe it is just a blip. At the end of the day, we're still 4 points in front of Manchester City. I don't think it's that bad a result, in as much as it was a Liverpool result that put it in City's hands.
Yes.
It meant that once Liverpool had drawn with us, City only had to win all their remaining games to win the league.
Yes.
That mathematics hasn't changed at all.
Right.
If they don't beat us, it's back in our hands. And it was the same before we drew with West Ham. It just looks worse because we dropped another 2 points and a bit good. And it means that we can't drop any more points further down the line, probably. The leeway is gone. But basically, nothing's changed. We have to go to City and either draw or win. And we had to do that last week as well. As soon as Liverpool drew with us, that was the situation.
You know, George, we need to remind ourselves and the listeners that you said this in the game we did before. Not that, because remember, we didn't do Liverpool. The game we did before, and you gave the math. The Arsenal Leeds match review. Remember, I think that was the game before, and you made the point that City was still in it mathematically. That we had to go to. You said we had to go to West Ham at their place, go to Newcastle at their place. We have to go to City at their place. And you said this was a big ask. It was doable, but it was a big ask. And when everybody was waxing that we had this 7-point cushion, you said, no, it's not. It's not over yet not by a far stretch.
No, I said as soon as we only need to draw one game, and it's out of our hands, and we've drawn 2 games.
There you go.
So that's the reality. And now people have understood the reality of how fragile that lead was. And when you look at how City are playing,
yes,
can you see them losing a game?
Well, they can, George, but it's it's not, it's just like it's improbable or not.
Well, they start heavy.
Not highly likely.
They start heavy favourites.
Yes.
In every game between now and the end of the season.
And the boy Haaland is scoring for fun again.
I know, it's horrible, isn't it?
George, I want to go back to the stats, losing the game from where we were. And I know you're familiar with these stats. This is from the of course PremierLeague.com, and this is the overall stats. And I'd like people to I'm fully aware of Mark Twain's saying there is lies, damn lies, and statistics. And, these stats perhaps reflect what Twain was talking about, because we had 71.5% possession overall to West Ham's 28.5. George, I'm straining. Let me make this bigger, right? And but it strikes me, George, that they had 16 shots to our 11. So something we were playing around with it. It reminds me of Wenger's sterile possession when he spoke about games where we were flicking it around but not making an impression. We had so many touches. They only 773, they only had 404, and so on and so forth. So I think you nailed the point. We were, flicking it around, but after the first 10 minutes without purpose, because I'm not nattering on for long, but Gabriel Jesus was involved in the first goal, but after that, as you said, he started playing a different kind of football. Your comment on the statistics?
Yeah, well, the statistics speak for themselves. We dominated the game in most ways, but as I said 5 minutes ago, the shape. We spent all this time practicing and learning patterns of play.
Correct.
Have we not? We go on about it every week. People have been going on about it for 3 years. Patterns of play, patterns of play. Mikel Arteta and his patterns of play. And I couldn't see it at first, but this season, I have to admit, I was wrong. I do see it now. Patterns of play, his patterns of play, beautiful. But they don't work if the players aren't where they're supposed to be to make those patterns. They just don't fucking work. Right. We end up back freestyling like Arsene Wenger days.
Yeah.
Which was beautiful, but they were used to doing it in those days.
Yes.
No, they're not. Now they're used to patterns of play. Right. And well, I get back to it. What the fuck was Jesus thinking? And what the fuck are the commentators and fans waxing lyrical about him, running all over the pitch, playing in the wrong positions? I don't fucking get it. I just don't get it. I tell you what, if he'd have done that when he was at City, he'd have been off within 5 minutes.
By halftime, you'd have been gone.
He wouldn't have got to halftime. He'd have been off. Straight away, off. I remember Thierry Henry telling a story about he was playing on the left wing at Barca.
Yes.
They were winning 4-1 or something, and he moved into the middle to join in, scored, and Guardiola pulled him off.
Right.
For moving out of his position.
Yes.
And he just fucking scored, and they were winning 5-1. It's that important when you play that way. You cannot be fucking... You can interchange if that's within the patterns of play, but you can't have your centre forward dropping into defensive midfield position and upsetting everything. It's absolute nonsense. And doing bloody pirouettes and trying to beat 3 or 4 people in the middle of the park. What does it fucking achieve? Nothing. If you beat 2 or 3 people on the edge of their box, then it achieves something. Beating them on the edge of your own box just achieves nothing but puts you in the shit.
Right. The probability of you conceding, turning over is high. Well, if you turn over, it's the probability of what's it called? Dangerous big shot. Whatever they call it, the shot zones. There's all kind of terminology.
As we saw when Thomas Partey turned it over to Declan Rice.
Exactly.
In a dangerous spot.
Yeah.
And Thomas Partey is a defensive midfield player. Somebody like Jesus is far more liable to turn it over than he is. I mean, you saw it several times. Players doing tricks, turns, spinning one way, then the other. Not playing the ball, keeping the ball at the feet. And gradually, more and more players gather around them until they lose it. It's a turnover of play. Keep the ball moving.
And West Ham.
But I have great sympathy for Mikel Arteta, and I've been a critic of his. But he came on and he said, they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. They stopped playing the way we'd planned to play, and that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Do you recall the comment? Do you recall the comment by Xhaka last season when we lost? I think it was to Newcastle or it was to Tottenham when he said the players weren't playing according to instructions. So you remember that comment he made? I didn't take it serious. I thought it was an excuse, but he was very, very forthright on that point.
He was very vocal on it, and
yeah,
and I can see what he's talking about now, and I can see what Arteta was talking about. Why do that? Why play freestyle? That's not your instructions. You play how you're told to play, and they had been doing it in both games. In both games, we were absolutely mullering them. They had no answer to us, either Liverpool or West Ham, and suddenly, foot off the gas, start fucking about, moving out of position. Game's gone.
And I said, go back to the stats that I put up earlier, George. I mean, we had 72% possession versus 28. And the only reason why I don't bring the breakdown from SofaScore is because it was hard to present. But that was pretty much a pattern for the two halves. But I'll just give you, people, let's look at this. I mean, the expected goals for Arsenal was 2.75, and for them 1.81. This is SofaScore. Thank you. And at the end of the day, George, is people said ifs and maybes. Ifs and maybes. If in football is pretty much a par for the course. Yeah, if we'd gone up and taken that penalty, would have been 3-1. But this is football. You can miss a penalty. So maybe you would have had the XG that was expected. Your thoughts on what those figures that SofaScore put up there?
Well, first thought is I don't know what the fuck they are because there's two.
I don't know what the second line is.
Expecting goals, yeah. And the first one looks reasonable, including penalties, I assume, and the second one I don't know what the fuck that's about. But yeah, let's get to the penalty.
Yes,
people have forgotten that. Saka puts that in. It's 3-1. It's game over again.
Yes,
and it was a shocking miss. And he played poor all game.
Well, George.
And I'm not criticising him. Well, I am criticising him. I've just done it this very moment. What I'm saying is, you can appreciate what he's done all season and how brilliant he's been, but still point the finger and say that was bad today. And similarly with Thomas Partey, I think he's been brilliant most of the season, but that was bad. That was bad.
The thing about Saka, George, again, it's the same pattern. You see, for the first goal, he was the one who had the ball on the right side, came inside, passed to Odegaard. Odegaard passed to Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus makes a cross. Ben White scores, right? And I said, wow, this is going to be the left back was staying at home. I don't remember which one it is, Soucek or whoever it is, the left back for West Ham. Guys, whoever that person was. He had to stay at home. I said, well, this is going to be the feature of the game. But as the game went on, George, he became less effective.
Yeah, well, the whole team became less effective. And like I say, I think it's because they simply didn't stick to doing what made them in a different league to West Ham in the first place and to Liverpool. We forget the first half hour of each game. It was devastating football. Well, it wasn't first half hour. It was about 15 minutes for West Ham. And I think they thought they'd won it. I do. Yes. I think they thought they'd won it. And they could do anything they want, fuck about with the ball, and eventually somebody would do some bit of magic, and that would be that. Because we used to do that under Arsene Wenger. We used to do it. We get 2 up, we start fucking about in the middle of the park, and all of a sudden somebody would thread a silly through ball.
Right.
And there'd be a few combinations and it'd be in the back of the net.
A ball over the top.
Yeah, but this team isn't set up to play like that. You've got to play to your strengths. And the strength of this team has been the patterns of play that they've learned and they've been doing week in, week out against all opponents, and it's been working. And we stopped doing it twice after half an hour in both games.
The thing that struck me, and I think you made that point in a tweet, is that nobody wants. Is that well the pundits and the celebrities on Twitter have their favorites, and they then the criticisms that you made earlier, none of them want to make those criticisms. For example, you're talking about Odegaard was ineffective. He had a goal, yes, but he gets a 7.4. Jesus gets a 7.5 from this is from who scored, and so on and so forth, George. But you made a criticism, and yet it's not reflected in these scores that I see here. Martinelli gets a 7.6. Okay, he set up Odegaard for that ball, for that goal. Your thoughts on what these player ratings, these scores that at least who scored? I'm not picking on who scored, by the way. It's easier for me to represent to do a graphic from their site. Your thoughts on these scores, George?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't agree with them at all. Some of our better players all season were ineffective.
Yeah.
I thought Tierney did all right. I think, given that he was playing the Shevchenko role.
I didn't think he came in. I hear people. I didn't think he came in that much, George. I'm sorry. I didn't think he came inside that much. And I don't think he passes as well either. He's a better defender.
He doesn't pass as well, but he did come inside as much in the first 15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. He was playing the same way. Mm-hmm. And whether he did it throughout the game, I can't really remember because I was so annoyed that we let them back in. I was shouting at the telly more than I was watching it.
Yes.
I just thought we lost all composure twice, 2 weeks on the trot. And I think Mikel Arteta made some errors in that he should have seen that Thomas Partey had lost the plot. I would have had him off at half-time, put Jorginho. As soon as Jorginho came on, we looked more in control. Right. Much more in control of the game. Give us some security with the ball and calm things down. If he'd have brought him on at half-time, he could have taken the fucking penalty, by the way.
Yeah, well, he's a good penalty taker. He took the penalties for Chelsea, correct? Yes, he did. He used to have that stammering run-up, right? Yes. George, but you and I have been saying this, and I said this, and I might have been an advocate or might have been a follower of you. It doesn't matter. But George, I've always said Jorginho was a very good signing. Why would Chelsea have released him? Look at the state they are in. And I know that was all about finances. But I felt that people were saying, well, he's not as good defensively as Partey. I was like, this guy has an eye for a pass and he's good defensively. I mean, and I just don't understand this.
He's not as good as Partey defensively, I think.
Right, I agree.
Well, unless he starts to fuck about in the middle of the park like he did. If Jorginho had done that Partey did, there'd have been lynch mobs out.
Right, that's
calling him a Chelsea fucking reject and a pensioner and all the fucking usual shit that we have to go through.
Right.
But it was Thomas Partey, and he can even rape people and get away with
it. George, you're too funny. No, I in the middle of the game, when I was seeing him freaking around, first of all, he started off very well, making it simple, passing wide, doing his thing. And then he thought he was, I don't know, Ronaldinho or something. Flicking that ball. And Declan Rice is not somebody to fool around. We're trying to, the rumors say we're trying to get him. You know what I mean, George? But what do you think of the substitutions? I mean, he brought in Jorginho and Trossard at around, I have them, I think it's usually 70th minute mark.
I think he should have made the substitutions earlier. Like I say, I think Jorginho should have been on earlier, and I think Saka should have been off.
Yes, he hooked him late, right?
Yeah, it should have
He
been
hooked him
off.
at all.
Uh, but it's difficult to hook somebody who's been a standout player. Same with Martinelli. But I thought, again, if you bring Trossard on, he gives you more control to
Right.
retain the ball. Uh, but it's hindsight's on it. It's so easy to criticise managers for making bad substitutions.
Yes.
But the reality is, you can have 5 substitutions now,
Right.
and if you can
I
make
was checking on that, George.
if you can make 5 substitutions, we'll at least make 4 of them that can affect the game, and that means bringing them on before the 70th minute mark for me.
Right.
You can't bring fucking Eddie on with a minute to go,
Right.
literally the 89th minute, and expect fucking miracles. Same with Reece Nelson. Uh,
Yes.
bring them on,
Expecting
and
last minute miracles like Bournemouth. I was like, lightning doesn't strike twice. I was like, you know.
and we never really looked like scoring, did we?
No, I mean Reese was in the final winning minutes they had pushed him way up close to the half line. They were not allowing him nowhere near the box. I was like, okay, West Ham isn't allowing West Ham is no Bournemouth here. They're not allowing this. No, but he just didn't have enough time to influence the game. But George, I think it's a
I
team.
understand that you have to keep one back in case somebody gets injured,
Yes, you have to.
but you can still make 3 or 4 early enough to influence the game. And if we're talking about players who arguably changed the game in Jorginho, Trossard, in particular.
Yes.
They can affect the game the way it's played. They can make us more in control of the ball. They can retain the ball better. And I think they should have been on earlier. But like I say, it's easy to criticise. We've got some late goals. He's made some substitutions that has worked. So I'm not going to be too harsh on Arteta. I just think with hindsight, which is always easy, definitely the party should have been off. I mean, I was tweeting at halftime that he had to come off, and he didn't. And then there's Rob Holding as well, who's
Yes, I know that, but we didn't have a sub for Rob. I mean, and
Rob
was against Antonio George, and Antonio is a handful. I mean, he's just physical. That's his main attribute. I'm not so sure about his goal scoring prowess, but he's physical in the extreme. For a big old bustling forward.
It's not. I don't think it's so much that Rob plays badly.
Mm-hmm.
It's that he doesn't play great like Saliba does.
Right.
And I think he gets criticism by comparison rather than by results or effort or performance.
Right.
It's by comparison, and it's the same. I suppose it's been like that forever, hasn't it? Like you bring somebody on as a creative midfielder and you think, oh, he's not as good as Mesut Ozil.
Right.
You always compare him, or you buy Granit Xhaka and people say, oh, we used to have Vieira and now we've got Granit Xhaka. When you keep comparing your current players to the best player in that position that's ever played for Arsenal, they'll come out second best.
Right.
I'm not saying Saliba is the best centre back we've ever had, but he's certainly very good now for us. And Rob is a little bit of a liability with his pace,
right?
And he does get pulled out of position quite a little bit as well.
Yeah, well, it's no Saliba, but hey,
he makes up for it. Yeah,
you can have a Saliba sitting on the bench. Coulda, woulda, shouldas. George, disaster opportunity. Where do you stand? We have a Southampton coming up on Friday. We still have 4 points. We're still 4 points on top. We have a game in hand. Your thoughts on that? I provide the two extremes. You can fall on the middle or somewhere, wherever you want, George.
Well, we have to get a result at City, which is next but one game. We should beat Southampton, and then it's crunch time. Go to City and get a result, and we're back in it. Go to City and lose. I think that's pissed on the chips.
So it's just the City game, it becomes crucial now, because at one point we could have lost to City and it would hope for them to drop points.
Got away with it, but now we can't, and that's it's as simple as that. And it's like a 1989 situation. Really.
Yeah, on your website, on the Positively Arsenal website, your loyal posters be talking about 89. Of course, George, you got to remember that for a lot of these young Arsenal fans, 89 is like, what are you talking about?
I think they all know. I think even the young Arsenal fans, to be fair, know what they're talking about when you say 1989.
Yeah.
I mean that was probably the greatest achievement in a one-off game that you can get, going to Liverpool at the time. Liverpool were the current Manchester City, weren't they?
Yes.
But this City squad is just... I tweeted today that there is an argument to be had that City fans put forward that City are the best team, this current City team, the last couple, 3 years, are the best team that's ever been in the Premier League. And it's a decent argument because you look at the points total and you look at what they've won, they compare favourably to any team, including the Invincibles.
Yes.
But you could lodge an argument that, but what about the Invincibles? And what about the 99 Manchester United team that got the title? You can sort of lodge an argument against them being clearly the best Premier League team of the Premier League time.
Yeah.
But there is no argument at all. They are the best squad that has ever been created. Squad.
Yes,
not first 11 necessarily, but squad.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely bulletproof when it comes to injuries.
And that's the danger. Well, George, I'm going to leave it at that. We run past our 30-minute mark. Hopefully, a lot of our listeners have been there with us. If you like what George and I do, like and subscribe. Tell your friends to join us and listen to us. George is somewhere in the middle. Oh, I didn't think that George would be like, disaster. I didn't think that George would be like, well, on the cusp of the title. City is what's going to decide it, you think?
I believe so. I mean, we could beat City and still lose it. But I think if they beat us, we will lose it.
Well, thank you.
But that said, we'll be runners up. Fucking incredible achievement. Incredible achievement.
It is, George. But that's a subject for another time, because I saw people saying, well, we are ahead of schedule. That's another piece of, I don't know. But anyway, George, let's end it here. Thanks a lot, my friend. We'll definitely try to do something after the Southampton game. If I will have the time, definitely.
Okay.
Thanks again, listeners, subscribers. We're trying to keep up with these games, despite my schedule and my having to go on vacation the last 2 weeks. So put it all on me. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Yep.